Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the radiator modification. I'm not sure. This might be a 3-part. Last time you saw this radiator, I was just drawing out tabs, to get welded on here, and now they are. These 3 up front will hold the oil cooler. That one right there will go back into the car over on the side of the engine bay and help mount it. Now, there's actually quite a bit more work that needs to be done with this. We're, just like everything in this car, getting way more custom than necessary. I mean, maybe not than necessary, but don't get me wrong, I could have slapped in the factory radiator and, not had to weld anything or do anything custom. So, yes, I mean, it's definitely a better radiator and it'll let me beat on the car a little bit more. But I definitely didn't need to go this far. But we are this far, and it's going to be sweet when it's finished. But anyways, so these tabs are welded on. I'm going to mount up an oil cooler today, get that on here, and then we can actually sit this in the car, and I need to do that so I can figure out oil lines. And then, of course, with like cost of shipping and everything, the place I'm buying oil lines from is also the place that I'm buying fuel lines from, and it's just easier to buy it all together, save on some shipping. So I haven't touched the fuel lines because I've been waiting for the oil cooler, and I haven't touched the oil cooler because I've been waiting to get the radiator back. Now, my buddy that was welding for me, he's pretty busy anymore, so he really doesn't have the time to do it for me. So, you know what that means? We bought a TIG welder. Now, I did quite a bit of welding in high school. I mean, I took a couple of years of welding. I'm obviously a master fabricator. But really, I did some TIG welding in high school. I honestly probably spent a total of 5 hours TIG welding in my lifetime. So, for all intents and purposes, I don't know how to do that. So yeah, we lost our ability to have a friend weld it. So I bought a TIG welder because I figure, why not? It'll be good for all kinds of future projects. We got a bandsaw. And yeah, we're hopefully going to be able to practice enough to be able to weld things. Unfortunately, he did all the easy welding for me. The reason why this might be a longer video or a 3-part video is these things don't really line up. Well, I mean, they do. You could run these as is, but you're going to have to get some really goofy radiator hoses to make them go to the engine. So what we're going to do is I actually have aluminum elbows that are going to get welded on 90 over, and make it a little easier to find radiator hoses to fit into the engine. Along with that, we got to weld a bung on the bottom for a temp sensor for the fan. And yeah, that might sound difficult. Well, at least it does for me. But it's going to be a lot more difficult because now that I have the welder, that means I also have to weld the intercooler down the line a little bit here. So a lot of practice, and then this project, and then a lot more practice, and then hopefully the radiator or the intercooler. But enough on that. What I'm going to focus on right now is really just getting this oil cooler hooked up on here. We'll get the radiator back in the engine bay, and then I can hopefully measure out and get some oil lines ordered, made up, and we'll have an oil cooler hooked up. Well, there we have it. My phone died during the last bit of that filming. But yeah, so it's initially mounted on there. Only one on each corner at the moment. But we will do 2. It's probably redundant, but a little overkill's sake. This is going to sit real close to the radiator. I am going to put a little piece of rubber in here just for some damping. But really, I want to put 2 in the top especially, just to try to prevent this from going down as much as possible. We're supported right here too. So really, we should be pretty good, but I figure, why not? Let's toss 1 more bolt in each corner. And then, I've never understood, why they say measure once or measure twice and cut once. But, I don't really believe in that methodology, obviously. I don't know how that happened. You saw me. I put them in. I did 1 at a time. I lined them up, bolted it in. I held it here, and I fucking marked it. And wouldn't you fucking know it, my hole's way fucking off. You can see hole on either side of it because, we had to drill a second hole and connect to the 2 to make that work. But that's why we got another bolt hole, so it doesn't really matter. And that's what washers are for anyways. But anyways, we'll drill a couple more holes. You guys don't need to see me do that. But we'll cut to me having all the bolts in here, and we'll go into the engine bay.